Hey, what's up, everybody? I want to welcome you to another episode of the Dreamers Pro Daily Recap, where we give you a recap of all of the hot topics that we covered that day. You can catch them in their long format and also catch it fully streaming for free on Apple Podcasts. Yeah, Stephen A. Smith just been he just been getting roasted and toasted wherever he goes, right? We produced some shows over the last 2 weeks or so where sports and politics kind of intersect. And Stephen A. Smith has been the common thing, right? Because he's the one that's kind of found himself in the middle of all of this. We made a video of Roland Martin basically calling anybody that considers voting for Stephen A. Smith or considers him a legitimate candidate to run for office is basically a clown, right? And I would concur with him 100% there. Then Stephen A. Smith recently made headlines, and we did a show about it, where he went after U.S. Representative Jasmine Crockett, and he was essentially scolding her on his show for the way she speaks, the way she was talking about the current president, Donald Trump, right? And he went off on her, and this caused a lot of people like Roland Martin to fire back at him, and even D.L. Hughley, right? But Smith made his comments about a week or so ago, so we want to give you guys a quick refresher. So for those of you who don't remember what he said, we want to play for you now. It's only about a minute or so. Take a listen to what Stephen A. Smith had to say here originally that got people talking about him, and then we're going to come back and continue on the show. Take a listen to what he said here.
Now Jasmine Crockett chooses to express herself. I'm like, is that going to help your district in Texas? Aren't you there to find a way to get stuff done as opposed to just being an impediment to what Trump wants? How much work goes into that? I'm just going to go off about Trump, cuss him out every chance I get, say the most derogatory, incendiary things imaginable, and that's my day's work. That ain't work. Work is saying that's the man in power. I know what his agenda is. I'm not exactly in a position to stop him since the Republicans have the Senate and the House. But maybe if I'm willing to work with this man, I might get something out of it for my constituency. Because like Joe Manchin said, he's there to represent, or was there for 15 years to represent, the people of West Virginia.
Excellent. So you heard what Stephen A. Smith had to say there. As I said, we did a show about it. I've called Stephen A. Smith a grifter because I believe that's exactly what he is and what he's doing. Other people have called him out as well. But it seems like D.L. Hughley, who is most known for comedy, but also has a lot of political opinions that he makes public on various shows like Vlad and his radio show and various places. And he went after Stephen A. Smith, right? He called him out for essentially not understanding what Jasmine Crockett was meant to do. And he was essentially saying, look, I understand that you're fired up about what Jasmine Crockett had to say, but why aren't you keeping your commentary fair and balanced, as you like to say? I thought you're an independent. Why didn't you call out the president as well? I'm like, pretty interesting point. For those of you who didn't hear what D.L. Hughley had to say in response to Stephen A. Smith's rant, I want to play it for you now. I'm going to come back and give you guys our thoughts. Take a listen to that there.
And I had a conversation with Stephen A. And I said that I would be more judicious in the way that I critique the things he said, and I would only do it if it rose to the level of something I needed to say something about. It's interesting that he chose Jasmine Crockett. Now, she doesn't serve in any leadership position. She's in the minority party. I wonder why he didn't single out, for instance, the president of the United States. And is he serving his constituents, the people that voted for him, by, I don't know, attacking a comedian and maligning the comedian, or maligning the opposition, the Democratic Party, or rambling in front of generals and the Navy? How is his constituents served? Does he serve his constituents like Mike Johnson, who constantly calls recesses so he won't have to deal of the matters of Congress? Or Jim Jordan, who's been in Congress for 18 years and never has written one piece of legislation in 18 years. I wonder why it isn't those people that he singled out. We're never going to argue about the efficacy of Congress. I think we have an agreement there. I think that they are not effective. I think that they don't do the job. I think that they don't represent their constituents well. But Jasmine Crockett is a member of the minority party. She holds no power. Her party doesn't have any power. She's not at the top of the minority party. She's a very junior congressman. So why would it be her that you would single out? Her job to represent her constituents. When you're in the opposition party, the minority party, your job is to object and to be loud, to be a fly in the orbit, to gum up the works. She's doing what it is she has the power to do, what's in her capacity to do, what's in her bandwidth to do. This is what she's supposed to do. She's supposed to make it harder and make it louder. That's what she does. She represents her constituents by being a member of the opposition party and to, by definition, oppose. I don't care in any paradigm you look at. Leadership starts at the top and goes down. Stephen A. Smith would have you believe it starts at the bottom.
So you heard what D.L. Hughley had to say. Here's my response to D.L. Hughley's question. The reason the Stephen A. Smith isn't going to address it as also from the president's side is because Stephen A. Smith is currently in the process of grifting. And when you're grifting, it's very difficult for you to do that. Now, the saddest part about all of this is this. Stephen A. presents himself as an independent. All right? I'm in the middle. I'm calling it down the line. If this guy does something wrong, I'm going to call him out. If the guys on the left do something wrong, I'm going to call. But that's not been the case. If you listen to his rhetoric over the last 9-10 months, or let's say 9 months, he's been highly, highly, highly critical of the Democrats. It's almost 90-10. He seldom calls out anything that the conservatives do. And to me, the reason you come off as a grifter is because there are even conservatives that are calling out the right as well, because they don't like every single thing that this administration has done. I'll give you guys a quick example of this. The latest one, as you guys remember, Qatar gave the U.S. this plane worth about $400 million, and it was meant to be some type of gift. And at the time, a lot of people were like, why would Qatar just give the United States a gift for no bloody reason? Is it that they like you? Or like, no, there must be strings attached. And then we hear, I believe it was yesterday, where Pete Hegseth essentially said that Qatar is going to be having an army base in the United States. And a lot of people are like, whoa, this looks like corruption here. It's like quid pro quo. You do this for me, I'm going to let you do that. Right? So people on the right are calling out the administration, Laura Loomer and all of these other guys, right? You would never hear that commentary from Stephen A. Smith because he's grifting. And when you're grifting, all you do is look for things to praise the people you're grifting for. He rarely calls it out, and sometimes he has missteps. For example, he was pro Bad Bunny performing at the NFL. Well, the NFL Super Bowl, the Super Bowl halftime show. A lot of conservatives weren't for that. He was trying to belittle people that said, oh, they want the Epstein file released. He's like, only jobless people would be transfixed on having these files released. They called him out for that. So D.L. Hughley asking why Stephen A. Smith, he won't do that because he's busy grifting. Now, I'll tell you this. We have the midterm elections coming up next year. If the Republicans lose power and lose a lot of seats, Mr. Grift himself is going to grift back to the left. Oh, Republicans should have done this. Oh, the Republicans went too far. Oh, conservatives took it too far. Oh, and this and this. This is what he's going to do. Which is why I think Stephen A. Smith is perfectly suited for politics, because he's ready to say whatever it takes. So D.L. Hughley is asking for accountability, which you won't get. You're not going to get that because he's a grifter, and there are a lot of people that are grifting for dollars. A lot of them. This is the era of selling your ass cheeks for money. And all of these guys are lining up with their hats open, ready for you to drop some dollars. And this is what the whole grift is about. And we're not talking about poor people here. We're talking about people that are established, people that are already probably millionaires. And they're still up there shaking their booties for no bloody reason except to make more money. And what can you expect when Stephen A. Smith gave you his manifesto, which is every morning he wakes up, the first thing he thinks about is how can he make his bosses some money? And then the next thing he thinks about is how can I mean, that right there should crystallize everything about Stephen A. Smith for you. All right, so D.L. Hughley is just calling him out on it. And I know that D.L. Hughley there were a lot of people that disagree with him in terms of his political views. But at the very least, he's consistent with his views. Right? You can disagree with people, but let there be some intellectual consistency there at least. And unfortunately, you won't be able to find that from Stephen A. Smith right now. as you guys know, I'm not a fan of Stephen A. Smith whatsoever. And to be quite frank with you, there are a lot of people that are not fond of this guy. So about a year or so ago, yeah, roughly a year or so, just over a year ago, we had the Super Bowl halftime show featuring Kendrick Lamar, who was on top of the world at the time, right? With that damn song. What's the name of the song? Dun, 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 they not like us. They not like. I have to actually. They like not. And let me tell y'all something. I'm a Kendrick Lamar fan. I got his first, which I still think is arguably his best album, Good Kid, Mad City. I got the other one with the black and white cover. I can't remember the name of that album. But like when they're in front of the White House and all, I got that album. I got the other one, Damn. I got the one that came after that. This one, it was cool. It was cool, but I think a lot of people, there was a lot of D-riding going on over there, but it is what it is. I'm still a Kendrick fan or whatever. But anyway, that song was popping, right? That song was definitely popping, and they had the halftime show that some people didn't like. Funny enough, I liked it. I thought the show was fire, especially that last part when him and Mustard came out. I was like, Mustard, I'm like, yo, this is fire, right? But apparently people thought it was boring or whatever. So I liked the show. But there was a part during during this performance where Serena Williams came out, right? And she was, I don't know if she was dancing, right? She was dancing there. And I think Serena Williams is from Compton. I think they're from the same neighborhood, right? The same city out there in LA. So she was there and this and this and this. So the chatter now became, okay, why is Serena Williams performing in Kendrick Lamar's Super Bowl halftime show, doing what she was doing? And it looked like she was dissing Drake because apparently her and Drake had dated. So Stephen A. Smith came on TV and he said something that I think a lot of guys would concur with. Like, yo, if you still on your mind, then go be with him. You don't need to be with me. So for those of you who don't remember what he had to say, I want to play what Stephen A. Smith said at the time. They got a lot of people talking. And I want to come back and continue on the show. Take a listen to Stephen A. Smith here.
I just want to say, the Serena moment for me.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
I'm just like, I want to.
Serena, like, let's just give her.
Well, you can say give her a props, but I'm just. But Shannon brought it up, so I'm going there. I'm going to be like, if I'm your husband, I'm like, why are you up there dancing or something?
I wanted my lick back.
Trolling your ex.
And don't you mess up either, because I get my lick back on you too. I bet it like that.
But the Compton connection is the Compton. Yeah, RC, that's what I was going to say. The Compton connection.
She's from Compton.
No, we know.
Like
we know that.
Even if RC, you and I both know. Even if she's not from Compton, everybody knows her and Drake were together at one point in time. And it seemed like everybody wanted to get their lick back on Drake.
RC's, what Stephen A. is saying, if he was in that situation and now he's married, he's not allowing none of that's happening.
Hold on, no.
That's what he said.
If I'm married and my wife is going to join trolling her ex, go back to his ass. Because clearly you don't belong with me. What you worried about him for and you with me?
I got to get that lick back.
Go ahead, RC.
Stop it.
What?
Stop it, Stephen A.
This is true.
If you with Serena Williams, you're gonna be a kept man anyway. Don't start that.
Really?
You ain't gonna run the house. You're not gonna wear the pants.
You know about that.
You sure about that? Question?
Hold on.
RC's hilarious. He said you're going to be a kept man.
Oh, hey,
Okay.
yeah.
Okay.
I think Alex is doing pretty well. You know, he found Reddit. And he's so ready for a good fucking change. I think he okay.
Yeah, he got.
Like I said, I know Alex.
Hold on. Dio got something to say. Dio got something to say. Go ahead, Dio. You got something to say?
Stop.
He's raising his hand. We got to hear from Dio.
I want to hear this one.
Well, I did not know that Serena dated Drake, so not everybody does, Shannon. Not surprisingly.
Fantastic. So you heard what he had to say. So I think it was yesterday or day before yesterday, Serena Williams' husband, I don't know how he ended up on the show, was on ESPN First Take. His name is Alex Ohanian, right? And he was on there, and I don't know what he was doing there because I didn't watch the show, but they were talking, and then it got to a point where he essentially tried to check Stephen A. Smith, like, yo, have you ever been married before? He did it in a cool, smooth way. Have you ever been married before? No. This and this and this. So I want you guys to take a listen to the clip that everyone is saying that he checked Stephen A. Smith on. So take a listen to what he had to say here. Take a listen to this clip.
Well, also too, Stephen A. Smith, I think you had some marriage advice for me. Is that right? Or
well, you know what? Listen, I didn't. People, headlines are headlines. We can get into that another time. But I was
hoping you were going to be here.
I am not qualified. Married? Right. Oh no, not me. Well, I ain't qualified, my brother. I'm not qualified.
I was going to ask because you hadn't been married before, right?
I am married.
No, see, he hasn't. Okay. Yeah, because I give advice to plenty of founders who want to build billion-dollar companies, and the reason I do that is because I build billion-dollar companies. Yeah. So I generally try to stay in my lane as advice
department. Then we'll talk marriage advice later. I'm doing 13 years strong. We got you. Alexis, thank you so much. Athlos NYC 2-night event in New York. Incredible. Can't wait to watch. I'm looking for a Tiffany's crown. Appreciate you, Alexis.
Appreciate you.
So you heard what he had to say. And a lot of people are like, oh, he's checked Stephen A. Smith and all this. Let me explain it as I see it. I think her husband, and let me get his name, Alexis, is doing what any self-respecting man would do. And by the way, especially self-respecting husband, there's a guy, I don't know who he is, that I see TikTok sometimes. There's a guy that, like, I'm sure some of y'all have seen him, like you'll see like a couple at a grocery store. He would just like walk up to the lady and hold her hand. And then the guy would be looking at him like, yo, what's going on? Like, what's it? And, and this and this. And he does that to some people and to some married people. That guy, you should be careful, bro. Because some people, I don't know if they set it up. I think it's all staged. But some people are not going to be playing with that when it comes to their wives, bro. Like that, you're playing with fire. There's some men that are not playing when it comes to their wives. They're not playing. They're not to be pranked. Just be careful. Some dudes they are not playing with you. They're not for the pranks. They're not for the jokes. And there's one thing, if you try to get at a dude's girl, his wife, men don't play when it comes to that. Just wanted to put that out there for a disclaimer. Those dudes are always looking for thinking everything is a joke. Some dudes don't play with that. They do not play with that. But anyway, so he said to Stephen, so he's doing what a husband would do, which is try to defend his wife's honor, right? Same thing that Will Smith did when he ran up on stage and slapped the fire out of Chris Rock. So I get that, right? He's doing the honorable thing. You want to defend your wife, right? So from his standpoint, I get it. But I still agree with Stephen A. Smith. I do. I still agree with Stephen A. Smith. Yeah, the husband was talking about he built this $1 billion company and that $1 billion company. It ain't about that. It ain't about that. It's about respect. There are men that don't make $1 billion, $1 million, $700,000, $500,000, $100,000, but their wives still respect them. They know, okay, if I do this, this is disrespectful. Right? It's disrespectful. Now, there was some women that said, oh, who, these women are confused. I'm sorry to say they're confused. I don't know of any women in a serious relationship that would be defending that behavior or are with men that they respect. They would be doing that. I mean, just think about it in the reverse. Imagine if it was him going to go perform at a show with a girl that has issues with his ex. Like, yo, what are you doing? Right? Let's look at it from the other side of it. And it's not about, oh, you're too insecure. My sister, is not about insecurity. It's about respect. And that's the most important thing. That's the most important. Even in marriage, what's more important than love is respect. You heard me right. Because not every day the person's going to love you. Not every day the person's going to like you. But the respect must be there. It goes both ways. You can't be out there acting a damn fool, making your wife look bad, embarrassing her in public. No. You guys can have your disagreements at home, fine. But the respect should be there. Especially if the other partner is showing you respect publicly. So that's the point. Most dudes ain't going for that. And another reason most dudes ain't going for it, men have egos. And that's just the way they are. And there's no changing it. All right? Men have egos. Men have pride. That's what you sign up for. So if you understand that, if you want to be with a man, you come to terms with that and you roll with it. That's how men are. So to me, man, I mean, I agree with the guy, trying to defend his wife's honor and all of that, but I agree with Stephen A. Smith as well. It's like my wife going, what? What? No. I ain't gonna fight with you, but you ain't coming back in my house. Oh, no. You gonna keep dancing and dancing. You gonna dance and go find yourself another place to stay. You ain't coming back in this house. It is what it is. It is what it is. This is just my thought, and I know a lot of guys would agree. A lot of guys would disagree. The only people that would disagree with me are people that are confused about the subject matter. A lot of guys, ain't no dude standing up for that. Come on, man, knock it off. That's the reason you have various news publications talking about it still. So as you guys know, about, let me say 3 or 4 weeks ago now, Molly Qerim stunned a lot of us where she announced that she was going to be leaving ESPN abruptly. And it sent a shockwave through the sports world, and all of us were like, what? Why? This. So news started to slowly trickle out. Various people reacted to it. But on that day, one of the people that reacted to it was none other than Stephen A. Smith himself. And he reacted to it by giving this very weird rant that had a lot of people thinking, wait a minute, are you talking about Molly here? Because he started to talk about value and understanding your market value and understanding leverage and all of this. And we're like, huh? And then we later on heard that, this had to do with money. And we're like, was he sneak dissing Molly here? For those of you who don't remember that rant that Stephen A. Smith went on, want to play for you now. I'm going to come back and continue on with the show.
But in the end, she made her decision. And we have to move on as a show. I don't like it. I'm not happy about it because I appreciate her and what she has meant to me, what she has meant to the show, what she has meant to the network, what she's meant to the business. And I'm going to miss her. It's just that simple. But we all make decisions that we deem to be in our best interest for whatever reason. And that story is for her to tell. Do I have an idea? Of course I do. Am I going to share it with you? No. Because again, that's her story to tell. But I do think it's important that I started off the show by just acknowledging my love and appreciation for her and what she's meant to me and what she's meant to the show. Because over the years, over the last decade or so, the things that we've accomplished, she was right there. And we can talk about me being the star of my daily television show. We could talk about the contributors that have been stars as well. We can even talk about me doing this show right now. You know, it's a hell of a lot easier to have a second job when the first job is made so easy because you're working with somebody that makes it easy for you. And that's what she did for me personally. And so because of that, I just wanted to wish her the best, let her know the love is always here from myself, from my personal assistant and my right hand, Sumatra, my security, Juvie, and my sister Carmen, and so many people that have loved her and loved on her over the years. We've got nothing but love for her. Having said that, I want to move on to a broader subject in regards to this. And this part is not about Molly. This part is about this industry, because I know there's a lot of people that look at sports and, you think you can do this every day. News for you. You can't wake up and be Mad Dog Russo. You can't wake up and be Adam Shine. You can't wake up and be Stephen A. It takes work. It's not just about what you know. It's about what you know about your audience and how to deliver a product to an audience that they're receptive to and they want to embrace and they want to magnetize themselves to moving forward. We're looking at an age with podcasting, folks with their own YouTube channel, everybody aspiring to be their own boss and make their own decisions. But in the end, we all have people to answer to. And I know this subject is piggybacking off of what has transpired with Molly's abrupt resignation per se. But it is important to point out that guess what? It doesn't have to be about her. But when you have negotiations and you're talking with people and you're going back and forth and you're hearing things that you may not want to hear or feeling things you may not want to feel, even though you're valued, even though people acknowledge those kind of things, we live in a world where we have to grow up. And again, I'm not talking about Molly here, but I'm watching, and I've been watching over the last several years, people in this business fall by the wayside because we forget that all of us ultimately answer to people. We don't get to define our own value. We don't get to define our own worth. We don't get to sit there and summarily say, this is who I am and this is what I'm going to do. And guess what? I don't give a damn what anybody say unless you have the leverage to do it. Because business is all about leverage. And I'm going to take this opportunity talking to this audience, giving you some insight into who I am and how did I think and how I think to make sure you understand where I come from. When you heard me at a time when we were discussing my contract negotiations all over the media and all throughout the sports world, what I talked about was what my worth was based on what the numbers showed. I talked about these are the ratings. This is the revenue. And I talked about, like I wrote in my book, Straight Shooter, a memoir of second chances and first takes, which was a New York Times bestseller, by the way. I said in the book, I wake up with two things every morning, two thoughts of mine, prevalent most in my mind. How do I make my bosses more money? How do I get some of it? I'm going to repeat that. How do I get my bosses more money? How do I get some of it? Why do I say that? Because every one of us answer to somebody. For those of you out there with a YouTube channel, guess what? YouTube can flag your stuff and limit what you could disseminate to the masses. Over the airways of SiriusXM Radio, I have a beautiful deal with this company. I am incredibly happy. It doesn't escape me that Scott Greenstein is my boss. I work at ESPN. I'm incredibly happy with how I have been treated. Dave Roberts is my boss. Burt Magnus is my boss. Mike McQuaid is my boss. Jimmy Pitaro is my boss. Bob Iger is my boss. This notion that everybody gets to do what they want to do, when they want to do it, how they want to do it, feeling whatever way they want to feel. When you got your hand out for other people's money, it doesn't work that way. And again, I'm not talking about Molly with all of this. Molly's a separate category. But the reason why I piggybacked off the topic of her to get into a more generalized discussion is because I'm seeing people in this business and beyond falling by the wayside and departing from places they don't need to depart from because their excellence at what they do is prevalent and relevant and flagrant. And they should be here. But it can all evaporate in a snap if you lose perspective. And you forget that everybody, and I mean everybody, answers to somebody. There's a beast that has to be fed. And along the way, sometimes it calls for you to make sacrifices you may not otherwise want to make. And what changed my life for the better, that made me a better professional, that made me a better man, was when I woke up and realized my primary objective in the world of business, in the capitalistic society that we live in, is to make somebody money and to be able to get some of it. Because nobody gets to take it all for themselves. Even the bosses have to surrender resources and assets to people that are under them to make sure everything flows efficiently and fluidly. That's the world we're living in. And you know, when you make moves, when I sat up there and I talked about what my worth was, it's because I knew I had leverage. Because I had other opportunities. You don't say stuff like that when you don't.
Excellent. So you heard what he had to say there. So just this morning, just looking for what to talk about. And I came across an article here from The Sun. And it says, Molly over it. Molly Cameron abruptly quit ESPN over backstage drama and wanted salary increase after being lowballed on First Take. Now, some of y'all know me, it's an old story. Well, this article was published on October 11th this year. So pretty much today. So let's read what the article says. It says, Molly Cameron quit ESPN after being lowballed by her salary and being denied further opportunities. It has been claimed. Karen announced her departure from ESPN on Instagram in September, then continues on. Karen had complaints about her salary and lack of opportunities in the field. That came hours after Sports Business Journal reported she had turned down a new contract offer and would leave the broadcaster at the end of the year. She had previously been a host to shows including Sports Nation and First Take. However, she is said to have been upset after leaving her $500,000 salary with less than was less than fellow ESPN star Malika Andrews and Mina Kimes, despite hosting the network's #1 show. The claim comes from her former colleague and former NFL All-Pro defensive end Marcellus Wiley. In a video on his YouTube channel, Marcellus Wiley, Dat Dude TV, Wiley said Molly wanted to do other things at the network, which included hosting her own show. They weren't signing off on her, not only hosting her own show, but doing other shows within the network. Wiley also claimed Karen felt a certain type of way about Stephen A. Smith, an executive producer making $21 million on his new deal. He explained reportedly she was making around $500,000 a year. Continues on. Now contrast that with Stephen A. Smith, $20 million a year for Stephen A. Smith, and he's #1 on the show, and you're the #2 on the show. You could feel a certain type of way, but hey, you got to eat the kill and all that. So Marcellus went on to say that. Then it continues on. Wiley added that Karen and Smith weren't cool with each other. Smith had said Karen had abruptly resigned from her role on his daily Sirius XM show. He added that the company did not want to lose her. Magnus explained in an interview with The Athletic that Karen and the broadcaster had agreed that she would be the first take at the end of the contract year, and then went on to say a few other things. Then they started to talk about some of the turmoil that was going on there at the network. What are my thoughts about this? Well, first of all, guys, look, it doesn't surprise me that it's a money issue. Right? It doesn't surprise me. And if I'm Molly Karam, I would have felt a certain type of way too. I mean, Malika Andrews and these guys that make more money than me. Every time I hear from Stephen A. Smith, he's telling us how this is the #1 show in the world and sports show in the morning and blah, 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 and this and this. I'm like, well, y'all definitely got the money. And my partner's making what? 20 times plus what I'm going to be making or whatever the amount is. Of course you're going to feel a type of way. Of course you're going to feel a type of way. And I said it before, and I'm going to reiterate the point again. Some people felt like, oh, you don't understand. No. $500,000 is a lot of money to anybody, right? They don't just hand out $500,000 a year jobs like that. They simply don't. But the fact is, pay varies from industry. And you also got to look at tenure. She had been on the show since 2016. That's 10 good years. So if you're seeing the ratings are going through the roof every single year and you're seeing growth month after month after month after month, then the host on the show, the star of the show, renegotiates a contract and he's making double what he was making before, and you're still hovering around the same number, you would feel a type of way because you understand what's being made out there. This is the whole point. 500,000 would be fair if it was fair. This is the point I'm saying. If it was fair, it would be fair. If you work in an accounting firm and everybody's making, I don't know, $120,000 a year, and that's pretty much what everybody else is making, then okay, nobody's going to complain. But if you see one guy's earning $500,000 and you're like, we're all here earning $100,000, you're going to have some questions when the firm is doing very, very well. It's normal. It's natural. So of course you'll feel a type of way. Of course. I think they could have kept her for $1 million. What would have changed? Well, it would have been maybe $500,000 less than Stephen A. Smith would have got. And maybe that's just too much to part ways with. Because you know what Stephen A. Smith said about him and money, man. There's no separating the two of them. They're like 5 and 6. They must always be together. Son, people are going to be crying today. People are going to be crying today. So, we've been on this marathon calling out LeBron James for his antics, as he normally does, right? And I seen a video this morning of Gil. Why everybody mad at LeBron, man? Why everybody mad at him? Come on, man. He got everybody in the algorithm. He got everybody popping. Yeah, you're popping, but I ain't going to come up here and lie. Like, nah, bro, we not feeling that. We not feeling that. Enough with the bozo behavior. Like, it's unnecessary. Right? And if LeBron wasn't in to talk about that time, this would be somebody else. Come on. Like, shout out to Gil, but nah, we're gonna call it like we see it. So everybody's been calling him out. We did a show yesterday reacting to some comments that Skip Bayless made on his show, where he suggested that LeBron James is not injured, that his ego and his pride that is injured. And he believes that LeBron James is pouting. Right? And he's trying to do that to sabotage the Lakers. Then late last night, we did a live reacting to some comments that Dave McMenamin made on, I think, NBA on ESPN or something like that, where he was speaking to Malika Andrews, where he essentially said that the news story is that during this period while LeBron James is out, he's going to use this time to evaluate how the Lakers play. And if the Lakers are playing well in the next month or so, then he will come back to the team and most likely stay with the team. But if they're not playing very well, then it may cause him in January or February to request a trade. And I'm like, the nerve of you, right? Like, what are you talking about? You're not even going to be with the team beyond next year. And then Dave McMenamin's talking about, oh, if he plays well this year, the Lakers are going to offer him a contract, a super max. I'm like, didn't he make an all-NBA team last year? Why didn't they offer him an extension this summer? Like, what are we talking about? They're just making stuff up here. So I woke up and one of our viewers sent me a video from Craig Carton, who used to be on FS1. So it was like Craig Carton talking about LeBron's injury. And to be honest with you, when I clicked on the video and I was preparing the title, I thought he was going to talk about, LeBron's injury, faking it, and blah, 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 blah. Basically going down the line of what Skip Bayless said. But then he took it in a whole new different direction to a place where my mind hadn't even gone, which was Craig Carton is now suggesting that LeBron James is faking his injury to get time off to fly to Europe to put illegal substances in his body so he'll come back ready to play. And I'm like, whoa. I didn't look at it from that standpoint. For those of you who didn't hear what Greg had to say, I want to play for you now. Take a listen to what he had to say here, and I'm going to come back and get into the meat and potatoes of everything. Take a listen to that there.
Remember last week we saw LeBron James dancing and hanging out with Kai Cenat on that Mafia-thon, thingamajig, raising, subscribers and all that. Looked pretty good, looked pretty healthy. We've seen a lot of LeBron lifting weights and looking swolled up and strong. Mm-hmm. Well, big announcement yesterday from the Lakers. That's a week ago. That's LeBron during the Mafia-thon thing that Kai Cenat and those guys are doing, right? Yeah. Looked pretty good. Looked pretty healthy to me right there.
He did.
Yeah, right. Remember when he put out his own video of him working out with like 125 pounds on the barbell, doing squats and whatnot? And he's in great shape, obviously, right? Yeah. And then, of course, he did the big Hennessy reveal. Looked great, walking to the chair, drinking some Hennessy.
That had been recorded.
Well, it looked fantastic. Yeah. So it comes out yesterday that LeBron James is out for 3 or 4 weeks minimum.
Yeah.
Will miss the start of this NBA season because he has sciatica. Sciatica is an old person's disease, which it's like pain that radiates from your lower back, usually down one of your legs. That's the stereotypical sciatica. Yeah. And normally you hear like your grandfather complain about back pain, oh my God. And it goes down the leg and it's not fun, right? It's very rare for a well-conditioned athlete in his prime or even just past his prime to have sciatica. Unless you're like, I suppose, like one of these guys that's like a heavy weightlifter and you're using your lower back muscles a lot, that kind of thing. And I'm calling BS on it.
Well, why?
Because I just saw him dancing last week, and that's not to do with sciatica, right? I hate to be that guy, but this seems to be the current norm for LeBron, where he's not ready to, either going into like an all-star break or to start a season or doing a quote-unquote meaningless part of the season and disappears. Now, I want to be very careful and clear how I say this because I don't know what he's doing or not doing. Would you be surprised at all if we find out that LeBron is on vacation, in Europe over the course of the next week or two or 3 to 4 weeks while he's not playing basketball in the NBA? Would you be further surprised that when he comes back from that European vacation, if he suddenly is able to run and play basketball like a kid half his age? Would that surprise anybody out there?
Of course not. It's LeBron James.
Of course not.
Right. Why would it surprise me?
You're going down the road that I'm considering that perhaps it's not sciatica. And he has lied about injuries before. Remember when he claimed that he wouldn't have been able to play in Game 6 last year in the playoffs had they not been eliminated because all of a sudden he had some type of MCL sprain.
Yeah.
And literally the next day he was dancing, right? Yeah. And doing like the move with your knees where you can't do that if you got sprained MCL.
Yeah, like a version of the butterfly felt like,
So, I get it. And if he is doing what I think he might be doing in Europe, to guarantee that he's able to go play 65 games this year.
And possibly make a playoff run.
And maybe make the playoffs and make a run with Luka and whatnot. As a fan, if I were a Laker fan, I support it. I support it 100%. I just would rather not be lied to. That's all. And I'm convinced that's what this is all about. And I want to be clear. I'm not accusing him of doing it. I'm not saying he is doing it. I'm saying I wouldn't be surprised if that's what this ruse is all about. It just seems very weird to me that he all of a sudden has sciatica out of the blue that we've never heard of before, and we know everything about him because he's a public figure for so long. And then all of a sudden, 3 weeks from now, 5 weeks from now, he's going to show up and play 40 minutes a game and look like he's 25 years old again. There's a reason cats go to Europe when they need some help physically and medically to be able to play the level they want to play at.
Yeah, Kobe was the first. Kobe was the first that we knew about.
Why
Rest in peace.
Why
Kobe.
that?
He was the first.
What? No, not the first.
He was the first we knew about.
Not the first.
Who was the first we knew about?
That's typical LeBron fan action.
What are you talking about?
I'm talking about LeBron, and you got to bring Kobe into it.
I was only trying to help the fans.
I heard some clown on TV talking about the LeBron Hennessy thing, and he brought up Michael Jordan.
Why?
I didn't say the name
I don't know anything about Michael Jordan.
I didn't say the name Kobe Bryant.
I was only talking. Steve Nash also went
I didn't say the name Steve Nash.
After Kobe, Nash
I'm talking about one dude.
Okay.
I'm just saying.
You had said athletes went to Germany.
I'm saying that
you said athletes.
if he played for my team and it made him more capable of playing, I encourage it.
All right.
And I'm not sure 100% that he's doing it. I'm just saying this dude don't have no sciatica problems. And for me, I guarantee you he shows up in Europe at some point in the next month. And when he does, you can all come back to me and go, aha.
Excellent. So you heard what he had to say. I want to address something quickly because one of the guys he was on the show with brought up the point about Kobe Bryant, right? So whenever we talk about illegal substances, EPOs, and all of this stuff, the general retort is, well, Kobe flew to Germany, right? Kobe Bryant flew to Germany. What was he doing? Right? This is LeBron fans' retort, as if to say, LeBron is doing something illegal, so Kobe did something too, when in reality, that wasn't the case. So let me just give you guys a quick overview of what Kobe did. It says, Kobe sought treatment in Germany for knee injuries, primarily a form of plateau-rich plasma, PRP therapy called orthokine, whatever the medical term is called. This treatment involves heating blood to release IL-1RA, a natural anti-inflammatory protein to reduce inflammation in the knee. The reason for seeking treatment in Germany was that this treatment or this therapy was not FDA approved in the United States at the time, though the core PRP procedure is. Bryant went this route, underwent this routine procedure on his right knee and left ankle on multiple occasions. Now let's read a little bit further. It says procedure. Kobe Bryant received this treatment, a specific type of PRP therapy that aims to reduce inflammation. The mechanism. The therapy involves heating a patient's blood to a specific temperature. A patient's blood means something from already within his body, not something outside of his body and putting it in his body. There's a major difference there. Specific temperature, which triggers the release of this one receptor, whatever, IL-1RA. This protein then helps to reduce inflammation in the area affected, such as the knee. It says Kobe Bryant traveled to Germany for this treatment because it was not approved by the FDA for use in the United States at the time. The goal was to manage and alleviate the inflammation and pain in his knee and ankle, which is considered a routine procedure to keep him healthy for the upcoming NBA season. And to talk about Kobe went there from 2011 to 2000. Now, let's get to the part here where maybe LeBron fan, but Kobe Bryant is he's illegal, do something legal. I asked the question, is PRP treatment legal in the NBA? Okay. It says, yes, PRP treatment is legal and widely used in the NBA as a healing therapy with the NBA, with the NBPA, and the World Anti-Doping Agency considering it a legal and safe option for treating injuries. The procedure uses a patient's own blood pellets or whatever to promote healing in injured tissues like tendons and joints. It is distinct from blood doping and is not considered a performance-enhancing substance. LeBron fans, go kick a rock. You thought you had something, you ain't had nothing. So even that dude in the soundbite didn't even know what the hell he was talking about. Okay? And even ESPN did an article on this back in 2013. And who else wrote it? Dave McMenamin. The article was titled Kobe in Germany for PRP Treatment. Right? No wrongdoing, nothing illegal, nothing like that. Right. Now let's get to the substance that's been linked to LeBron the most, which is EPO. Let me give you guys a quick description of what it is. It says EPO has a long history of abuse in endurance sports. Blood doping involves the misuse of certain techniques and or substances like EPO to increase one's red blood cells mass, which allows the body to transport more oxygen to the muscles and therefore increases stamina and perform. That is what LeBron has been suspected of. So Craig Carton is here saying that he believes, right? Not that he knows, he believes that LeBron has disappeared to Europe to go undergo this procedure in order to prepare himself to come back to the NBA and play at a high level. That's what he's saying. So he's not just taking the route of Skip Bayless, which is, oh, he's faking an injury because he's pouting. He's saying no. He's faking an injury, according to him, for a specific reason. And the reason is to go gain an unfair advantage and basically bypass the rules. That's what he's saying. And that's a pretty damning allegation. We don't know it to be true, but that's what he suspects. Now, to be fair, other people in my comments have suggested the same. I didn't pay much attention to it because, frankly, there was a lot of things in my mind, so my brain didn't anchor down on that point. But some people may be suspecting that.